Hello everyone and welcome to this my video on trigonometric ratios. My goodness, what on earth are trigonometric ratios? Well, I'm going to tell you if you just hold your horses. My name is Darren from, yes, you already know this if you've watched my videos before, mathsguru.com. Head over there for the downloadable lesson notes, all of these videos and so much more, exam questions, etc, etc, etc. And before I get started, if you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would be smashing as well. No one actually knows about my content. Very few people actually subscribe. And if you can, it would be great just to let me know that someone out there has watched and I'm not going mad talking to myself. At the end of the day, when I get 3 extra subscribers, trust me, I go nuts. It is ridiculous how excited I get for 3 extra subscribers. Shall I finish talking now? I think so too. Right, what are we going to go through in this video? Well, in the previous videos, we talked a bit about Pythag and right angle triangles. We're now going to look at a different way of using right angle triangles by using something called trigonometry. Now, if you say that to your parents, they will go white with fear. Yes, no, seriously, say to them trigonometry, yes? You haven't done it, have you? No, that's okay, because you're probably in your bedroom working hard, or hardly working. But the point of it is, we're going to look at a pretty funky section of the course, and I love teaching this because it is all down to one word. What is that one word? No, not hard. Come on, wait, work with me. In the previous videos, I always do a recap because it's nice to know what you've missed if you haven't watched the videos before. But in a previous video, we looked beautifully at the allegedly theorem of Pythagoras. All right, c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Now, while it's important to recap at the start of here is this. When you have a right angle triangle and you are given 2 sides, you will always be able to find the third side by using Pythag. So when we give you questions in an exam, you've got to know which tool to use. It's like building a house, really. It's nothing like building a house. I don't know why I say that in all my videos. It's got nothing to do with building a house, but using the right tool is really, really important. So again, when I give you a right angle triangle, if I give you a right angle triangle and it's got a 3 and a 4 there, and there's a right angle triangle there, you can jump by using calculations or Pythagorean triads or triples to find that missing side length straight away. And that's how we know to use Pythagoras' theorem. 2 sides given, want to find a missing side. Ka-ching. What about if they don't give me 2 sides? What about if they give me 1 side and say an angle inside and want me to find a missing side length? Oh, that's tricky because we've not come across angles before, have we? Well, we have, obviously, in previous years, but in this situation, and that is where we basically use Pythagoras' theorem. Try that one again. Trigonometry. Trigonometry relates side lengths and angles. So whenever they give you side lengths and want to find an angle, or they give you an angle and a side length, that's when you know to use trigonometry. Now, here we go. Silly old Harry caught a herring trawling off America. Now, again, when I taught this in Australia for the first time, kids looked at me somewhat blankly and went, "What's a herring?" So, for my international friends out there and my Australian students, that is a herring. It's a type of fish. I don't know. Like, obviously in the United Kingdom, we have cod and chips. Over here, try and find a bit of cod in a fish and chip shop. What is barramundi? Ha! Random. And this is a trawler. Okay, basically, it's a trawler. See, this isn't just maths, it's English as well. Yes? And you're going to say, why on earth are you saying silly old Harry caught a herring trawling off America? Because Mr. White, my famed maths teacher, thought that would be funny to get us to remember. Silly old Harry caught a herring. What? Everyone else in the world learns the actual word Sokatoa. Now, I'm really sorry. I don't know why I do that. Every time I say it, I go Sokatoa. Sokatoa. It sounds better that way, I think, rather than Sokatoa. Or, in an Australian accent, Sokatoa, like, mate. Down the... Don't flame me. All right, so basically Sokatoa is a way of remembering really, really important things, yes? You can come up with a different way of remembering it. Some people did. But ultimately, S-O-H-C-A-H-T-O-A. Sokatoa. See, I can't help myself. What on earth does it stand for? Well, each of those letters stands for a part of a triangle, believe it or not. Yes! So, the O and the H, the A and the H, and the O and the A actually stand for sides of triangles. And you're going to go, oh, and I'm going to say, so. What does this S, C, and T stand for? All in good time, grasshopper. Right, here we go. Labeling a right-angled triangle. Now, this is probably the most critical part of trigonometry. being able to label a right angle triangle. Why? Because if you get the sides the wrong way around, then sadly the whole SOHCAHTOA thing, oh, I said it normally there, the whole SOHCAHTOA thing falls apart. Yes, why? Well, because everything relates to, effectively, that angle there. Now, it's very, very small on this diagram, but the angle is the most important part of trigonometry. We already know from previous videos that the side that is opposite the right angle is called the hypotenuse. Yes, I love this graphic. Hypotenuse, yeah. Don't put hypotenuse. It's hypotenuse. Now, again, because we're mathematicians, we're a little bit lazy, and normally we can either write that as hype or just with a H. We'll come back to that later. Now, I want you to go back to this angle here, all right? And I'm going to draw it slightly differently because when I draw it in my diagrams, I draw it like this. And that is supposed to be an eye. Don't judge, I didn't say I was an art teacher. Now, that eye is basically looking that way. It is looking at the side that is opposite it. Opposite it. Okay? So the side that is opposite the eye, the one I am looking at, you are opposite me now, that is my opposite side. So there is my angle, and there is my opposite side. That is my hypotenuse, and the side that touches the angle, all right, because when something is touching, it is adjacent. If you were standing beside me, it is adjacent. I know it's a fairly weak analogy, but it's the best I've got at the moment. That is the adjacent side. Ultimately, most people will do the opposite. They'll do the hypotenuse and just go, well, by a process of elimination, that is my adjacent. Right. Hold on a moment. I just said a moment ago that we could call that, let's say, H for hypotenuse. What do you reckon we can call opposite? Aha. O for opposite. And what do you reckon adjacent? A for O, A, and H. O, A, and H. I've seen those before. So, ka, toa. O, A, O, H, A, H. O, A, and H. Oh my goodness. So the SOHCAHTOA, two of those letters for each part of my SOHCAHTOA, all right, so so, ka, and toa, stand for side lengths. What? So what does this S, C, and T stand for? Well, these are the buttons on my calculator we tend to play with. Now again, I'm going to use a CAS calculator because I know lots of schools out there have them at year 9. My school doesn't. You have the old style calculators. But if you are using a CAS calculator and hit on the trig, because maths is very triggy, lol, yeah, then what we notice is we see all of these different things here. And one of them is sine. It is not pronounced sin. One is called cosine, or we say cos. And another one is called tan. Sine, cosine, and tan. S-C-T. You what? Hold on a moment. S-C-T? S-C-T? We've got those. S, C, and T. So basically, those things there, the S, the C, and T, are basically what we call trigonometric functions. They are our trig functions, which we'll come back to later. So, if you've understood all of that, awesome. Don't worry about it if you haven't. The whole point, what you've got to get into your head at the moment, is that SOHCAHTOA is effectively going to rule your lives. Then, basically, just using your calculator properly. Right, so I'm going to do a different example.